Hi, this is Leah Klein, Health and Wholeness Coach, and today my question for you is, how are you shining? Our verse is Psalm 37:6. He will bring forth your righteousness as the light, and your justice as the noonday. This verse is talking about aspects of God's character that we can display. So, how are you shining? Are you reflecting God's light? First, let's look at righteousness and some definitions for that. A coming into spiritual oneness with God, because for Christ's sake, the believer in Christ is treated as righteous. And that's talking about the imputed righteousness that Christ's righteousness becomes ours because we have none of our own. So that aspect, God is revealing Christ's righteousness in us, and that is shining as a light. So we are a light to those around us when we are displaying, his righteousness. And this is a parallelism that is common in Psalms and Proverbs, but it's describing basically the same thing using different words. So the second part of our verse, the first part was your right, he'll bring forth your righteousness as light. Well, the second part is, and your justice as the noonday. So justice, while we don't normally think of righteousness and justice being basically very similar in their meaning, they actually are. And so justice, is the quality of being just, which is like, great, that's helpful. I love it when they define it with the same word practically, and you're going, okay, go farther. But the quality of being just or fairness, and there's a principle of moral righteousness in God's justice and what the justice is that we should desire. It's not always found in the justice of this world, unfortunately, but that's for another day. But that righteousness and justice are elements of God's character, and that we can see displayed in his word and in the history of how he has suffered and blessed with the Jewish people and with other Christians throughout history. And so we can look at that and see his righteousness in other people's lives and his justice, but that is also displayed in us when we are close to him. When we get close to him, those aspects of him come through us, and those that are around us can see those. And I would encourage you to ask God to shine through you. Let him use you. And another way of deepening that connection so that you can more closely be joined with his righteousness, his justice, and that deeper connection with him, I do encourage you to go on a personal retreat. Take some time one-on-one with God in his creation even if it's a few hours, just disconnect and connect with him. And that, especially done on a regular basis, can completely change your life. It did mine. So I want to wrap us up today with Lead Me, Lord. And if you know it, feel free to sing along. Lead me, Lord, lead me in thy righteousness. Make thy way plain before thy face. For it is thou, Lord, thou, Lord only, that makest me dwell in safety. And I will see you next week with another verse. See you then.